Hello and welcome to the sewing studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this sewing caddy that goes over the arm of your chair. So this is how it works. It's got a pincushion in the middle and it sits on the arm of your chair while you're sewing, and it's got a pocket, or it's got 3 pockets I should say, at the front, so you can put all your little sewing bits and pieces in there. It's got 2 pockets at the back, so I've got my little embroidery stitch book that goes in there. I've got a ruler, I've got clips, and it's really handy. So how do we make it? I'm going to show you how. This one is made with Lewis and Irene's fabric, which is all about sewing and quilting. It's called Small Things. The first thing you need is your outside fabric, your inside fabric, and a piece of wadding. And these all measure, all 3 of these things measure 20 by 9.5 inches. The next thing you're going to do is make your pincushion. So if we go back to this one, you can see the pincushion here. And what you need is a piece of board in the bottom so that your pins don't get pushed straight through and into the arm of your chair. Your pincushion measures 10 by 5 inches. So you've got 2 pieces of fabric, right sides together, and you're going to machine down along the bottom and up the other side and leave an opening. So you're going to put your board in, or you're going to put your template plastic in, whatever you choose to use. And as I said earlier, this needs to be about 1 inch smaller than this finished pocket. You're then going to stuff it with toy stuffing until you've got it as much stuffing as you'd like. So that's up to you, that's a personal thing. And then you're just going to close this edge very roughly, because you're not going to see the edge because it's going to be incorporated here in your binding later on. So I'm just going to lay it on there. What you would do is to centre it, you would fold this in half and just pop a pin in so you know that that's your centre point. And then you're going to put your pincushion on there like that. The next thing you're going to do is the pockets. So we're going to do the 2 pockets first of all. So we need 1 piece which is 9.5 by 9, and we need 1 piece which is 9.5 by 12. And when I cut all of these out, I tend to label them so I know which are going on what side. You'll also need some iron-on violin on the back of your fabric. So do this with all of your pockets. So 9.5 by 9, 9.5 by 12. With the violin on the back, and we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to put it on top of our caddy, and we're going to fold our other one in half. And with the folded side, we're going to put that nearest to the cushion, and we're going to have the raw edges at the bottom. Now, I've got 2 pockets here, so if you want to make this into 2 pockets, now is the time to put a stitch on. So sew this separately. Don't try and do it through all of these, because you're going to have 1 big top pocket, 2 small ones. So if I show you on one that I did earlier on, you can see that I've clipped those together, and I would just take a line, draw a line there and stitch there, and just do a little lock-in stitch so that it gives it some strength. We're then going to do the same for our 3 pockets. Our 3 pockets measure 8.5 by 9.5, 10 by 9.5, and 13 by 9.5. And again, all of these have got the iron-on violin on the back. And we're going to lay these pockets here like this. And at this point, you need to decide how many pockets you want to make. And that's a personal choice. It depends what you're going to put into your caddy. But you need to do it before it goes on here. When you've done all of your sewing of your pockets and you've got them as you want them, the thing to do is to pin this in place, and then when you've got it all pinned down in place, do a scant seam just to hold it all together. So it's now all as one component and you haven't got lots of bits flapping about. So I try to use about 1/8 of an inch, because when you come to put your binding on, you're going to sew that at 1/4 and you want your 1/8 to disappear into that seam. Your binding is as you would do any binding. So it's a piece of fabric cut at 2.5, folded in half and pressed, and then you're going to pin it onto the inside of your caddy like this. And you're going to go around the corner like this. And when you've done that all the way round and you've joined up your end, you're then going to sew this, and you will need a walking foot at this point because you're sewing through so many layers. And I tend to increase the stitch length as well so it doesn't all pucker. And then you're going to sew it at 1/4 of an inch as you would with any other binding. And then when you've done that, you're going to just flip this over and slip stitch on the back, just like I've done with this one. And that is how you make yourself an armchair sewing caddy. So, as always, have fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.